Peace, peace. Garbat. In Taino, Marikatu. Sabi, Garbat. In Islam. Oh my God. Give me 1 second, yo. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. Just when I get started, things just pop up. And I just make sure I had to take care of that, family. But again, Gabat, peace, Sabi, Salam, Shalom, Taino, Marikatu. You know what I'm saying? Peace, peace, peace to you all. Again, Warhab, Maboyka, bienvenido. So let's get started. This is Science Tuesday. I've been looking through some stuff here, man. I've been finding something interesting when it comes to science, And so, without any further ado, first of all, let's define what science is. I mean, we could bring up the science definition by, standards, but again, science is from the Latin sensia, and sensia is just senses. And we have many senses, not just feel, see, touch, taste, hearing. We have other senses. You have a sense right in the solar plexus. And that sense is like an intuitive sense, right? And that's your feelings and your emotions. You sense that, in your gut. You also have a sense, like what he said, common sense, not so common, which is true. You got this sense, this sense, a sense of reasoning. That is another sense. Another sense, which is a higher sense, is the sense of the transcendental mind, which deals also with intuition, but it deals with astral projection, astrophysics, but then astral projection. When sometimes you find yourself in what appears to be a dream, but it's much more than a dream. You know what I'm saying? That's astral projection. That's another sense that you can develop. You can develop that sense, and then of course you got lower senses, but all these senses, they all meet at the barrier, which is the heart. You know what I'm saying? The heart, the Abba, Ib, you know what I'm saying? So without any further ado, so we're looking at technology. I want to bring something up because remember yesterday I spoke about the African Union and the Queendom of Imperial Majesty Kasambure, you know what I'm saying? Queen of the South, Queen of Sheba the Third, and that Parliament, you know what I'm saying? And about these ambassadors on there, these crown ministers and ambassadors in that Parliament, and some of them are architects and engineers, and so they brought up a lot of plans. Some of them worked in plans in Japan, and help that community out, in Japan with the transportation and stuff, what I'm saying, technology. And so they want to bring this technology to the continent of Africa and the African diaspora. That's one of the what they call Phoenix 7 project. And I'm gonna bring that up later and get you acquainted with the Phoenix 7 project. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to start here first. So when you look at this, I ran into Venus Project, not the Phoenix, the Venus Project. When you look at this project, right, the technology of it, many people believe that there is too much technology in the world today, and that technology is the major cause of our environmental pollution. This is not the case. It is the abuse and the misuse of technology that should be our major concern. In a more humane society, instead of machines displacing people, they would shorten the workday, increase the availability of goods and services, and lengthen vacation time. Our plan is to utilize new technologies to raise standard of living for all people. Hence, the infusion of machine technology will no longer be a threat, right? So we have the cybernating technology, and that's computer today replace human brains with electronic equipment that manipulates figures, makes programmed decisions, and give instruction far more efficiently than any human being. Now, cybernation is the linking of computers with automated systems. That's what cybernation, automated systems. It links the computer with that. Eventually, the central cybernated systems will coordinate all the machinery and the equipment that serve the entire city and the nation and ultimately the world. I'm sorry, let me read that again. Eventually, the central cybernated system will coordinate all of the machinery and equipment that serve the entire city, the nation, and ultimately the world. One can think of this as an electronic autonomic nervous system extending into all areas of social complex. To ensure the efficiency operation of the city's various functions, all of the process and service are equipped with electronic environmental feedback sensors. These sensors are coordinated with redundant backup system that operate in the event of failure or breakdown of the city's primary system. So this is a city. Let me show it. This is a city that is of the future. It's called the Venus Project. Right now, they have this city in Venus, Florida. They're building this. There's people living out there. Of course, it's going to be problems. It's going to be things. But, this is the prototype. The template is in Venus, Florida. And so, again, and then, a lot of people are going to say, well, why get into machinery like that, electronics, and not deal with human, more biological human existence, which is okay. You know what I'm saying? No one is throwing that out. You know what I'm saying? Because we are humans. We're biological. We're carbon-based humans. But we're dealing now with the fourth industrial revolution. We're leaning now towards a revolution. And this is called the fourth industrial revolution. Revolving, because when you look at ancient time, but I'm not going to go there because people say, oh, that's pseudo, about ancient technology and stuff like that. But I've done a podcast about that, about the solar people and the way they will harness the powers of the sun and power the cities. That, the perception is that those pyramids were, coated with what they call it, with limestone, and there was a conductor, and in the middle of those pyramids was a conductor. Gold was a conductor, and it was in water. Water is a conductor also. So these pyramids were, again, a technology, a solar technology that existed in ancient time, and many pyramids that supply, power to the city. You know what I'm saying? But that's getting a little far-fetched. You know what I'm saying? In today's day and time, there's ways that, you know, I'm just introducing you to this project, you know what I'm saying? And this is Science Tuesday, and this is out there. This is beyond politics, poverty, and war. Like they say, the Venus Project. You know what I'm saying? When you look at in space station, right? Space station provide the advantage of gravity-free research environment. They can be entirely automated and self-contained to permit maintenance and self-repair without human intervention. These space stations will be able to monitor Earth resources as well as facilitate further research in the fields of meteorology and astronomy, work that is often difficult on Earth due to the atmospheric interference. This is the Venus Project when it comes to space. Many other experiments can be accomplished in gravity-free environment, particularly in the areas of medicine, chemistry, and meteorology. Meteorology. In addition, these space stations will serve as a nodes in a worldwide telecommunications system, providing up-to-date information on the Earth ecosystem, the positions of ships and airlining, and other information pertinent to the inhabitants of the cybernated world. You know what I'm saying? Let me go back. And then in dealing with energy, you know what I'm saying? The Venus Project also have a energy project, which there are many forms of renewable energy sources that could supply the world with more power than the current global needs. Now, these sources mentioned below are just some example of the renewables. Eventually, if the potential of only one of these sources is harnessed efficiently and utilized intelligently, it will supply more than enough to meet the current energy demand. Combining all renewable sources allow us to build a technologically advanced society with tremendous capabilities. You know what I'm saying? These are projects. So you have the solar power is the conversion of sunlight into electricity, either directly using photovoltaic PV or indirectly using concentrated solar power. It has tremendous potential with storing energy in batteries for private use to large scale solar plants on land and in the sea. The radiation that strikes the Earth's surface each year is more than 10,000 times the world current energy need. So there's a lot of energy that we're being bombarded with from the sun. You know what I'm saying? And so to harness that, and this is what our ancients did this through the use of, again, the pyramids. Wind, that's the power of strong onshore and offshore wind can be extracted from airflow using wind turbine to produce mechanical and electrical energy. Wind power is plentiful, renewable, widely distributed, clean, and produce no greenhouse gases emission during operation. The uses and uses little land. The global potential for extracting electrical energy from wind has been estimated to be more than 5 times total global annual energy demand. Power. Wave power is the transfer of energy by ocean surface wave. Now, the capture of that energy for electricity, excuse me, the capture of that energy, I have my window open, so it's beautiful out here in North Carolina. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But now, the capture of this energy for electricity generation, water desalination, and the pumping of water into the reservoir. Locations are shoreline, near shore, and offshore. Types of power Types of power takeoff include hydraulic ram, elastomeric hose pump, pump to shore, hydroelectric turbine, air turbine, linear electrical generator. Harnessing the energy produced by waves could provide another form of clean and limited energy source. You know, you have tidal power or tidal energy. It's a form of hydropower that converts the energy obtained from tides in electrical power. The incoming water is contained in large storage ponds, and as the tides goes out, it turns water wheels that converted the mechanical energy into electrical via turbine. The tide, you see the tide, the high tide, low tide, right? Although the electrical energy that will be currently produced from tide is relatively low compared to the other renewable sources, with newer technology that could harness much large volume of tidal power, all right? Geothermal power, as refinements in conversion technology increase, is feasible. Geothermal power will come to take on a more prominent role. Readily available in various geographical regions throughout the world, both on and the land and under the sea, this power source alone can provide enough clean energy for the next 1,000 years, y'all. You have hydroelectricity. energy is the production of electrical power through the use of gravitational force falling or flowing water. So you have gravitational force and you have levitational force. Okay? This power, these gravitational forces, waves, and levitational forces can be harnessed. Now, a land bridge or tunnel might be constructed under the Bering Strait. The primary function of this span will be to generate electricity and house facilities for collecting and processing marine products. Beneath and above the ocean surface will be tunnels for the transport of both passengers and freight. Not only could these structures provide physical link between Asia and North America, but it could also serve as an avenue for social and cultural exchange. This land bridge would perhaps serve as a base for the development of clean fusion power. Pipeline to conduct fresh water from melting icebergs to other parts of the world will also be incorporated. I used to live in Niagara Falls, so that's current. And that's how Tesla in the beginning was able to harness the power, right? We study what Tesla did, right? In Niagara Falls. They got a big statue of Tesla in the Niagara Falls, right? But you look at Niagara Falls and you look at the what they call that? Got the name. The rapids. There's an area where they call the rapids because it's a current, and you see this gallons down on 10,000s of gallons flowing, and then you see this bridge that goes up, and they can bring it up and they can bring it down because they're harnessing energy. Believe it or not, they're harnessing energy out there, you know, in the north parts. You know, you have thorium based nuclear power is nuclear reactor based on electrical power generation fueled by primarily by the nuclear fission of the isotope uranium 233 produced by the fertile element thorium. It's a fertile element. Now, thermal fuel cycle offers several advantages over a uranium fuel cycle, including much greater abundance of the on the Earth, superior physical and nuclear fuel properties, and reduced nuclear waste production. See that? Reduces nuclear waste, but the thorium is key to developing new generation of cleaner, safer nuclear power. A group of scientists at the Georgia Institute of Technology concluded that the supply of thorium for production of electrical power can last for more than 1,000 years. Wow, there's so many ways that we can get into renewable energy. So I don't, you know, and that's, you know, what needs to be discussed more and more, and is being discussed. Honestly, it's being discussed. Osmotic power is the energy available from difference in the salt concentration between seawater and river water. Two practical methods of this is reverse electrodialysis and pressure retarded osmosis. Both processes rely on osmosis with an iron-specific membrane. The key waste product in brackish water and the technology have been confirmed in laboratories conditions. Other methods have been proposed and are currently under development, such as the method based on electric double-layer capacitor technology, and a method based on vapor pressure differences. This is yet another source of renewable clean energy that can be utilized. Wow, there's so many. It's two more here. Ocean thermal energy conversion, OTEC, uses the temperature differences between the cooler deep and the warmer shadow and the surface seawater to run a heat engine and produce electricity. The source potential of OTEC is considered to be much larger than any other ocean energy form. OTEC, which is energy thermal energy conversion, can also supply quantities of cold water as a byproduct. This can be used for air conditioning, refrigeration, and nutrient-rich deep ocean water can feed biological technology. Another byproduct is fresh water distilled from the sea. There are many applications that such a technology is used humanely and with environmental concern. So they still trying to figure out. But imagine that to be able to convert this seawater into drinking water, distill fresh water, distilled from the sea. Hmm. Underwater turbines, ocean current are one source of natural energy that one has tapped before using giant underwater turbine with more rational force or torque. The energy from deep ocean currents such as the Gulf Stream off the coast of Florida can be converted into clean electric power. These slow rotating turbines would have a centrifugal separator and a deflector to prevent harm to marine life. A technology that harnesses the power of the ocean currents can provide another form of clean and limitless renewable energy. Now, the information provided about these different renewable sources of power has been taken from widely known sources, such as Wikipedia and the website of companies and individuals who specialize in this specific technology. A simple search on any of them will yield detailed additional information that should satisfy anyone's curiosity. It is evident that there are more than enough energy resources waiting for extraction by the intelligent application of science. Welcome to Science Tuesday. Let me see if anybody's here. You know what I'm saying? Wait 1 second. Peace and blessings to all those watching. So you see, there's ways for science to be used to be very beneficial to us. You know, electronic science, electronics, all these sciences are could be very, very beneficial if it's used the right way. You know, it's like a gun. A gun can use to destroy somebody, and kill somebody, but a gun can also be to, it's how you use it. It also can be to protect and to food sources, to hunting, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Equipment, metal, the bow and the arrow. Sorry, I'm just trying to bring this back up in here. Got it. So that is the Venus project. Let me go back here. That is the Venus project, and that is about energy. Okay. So we looked at space and we look at what can be happening straight. Let's look at construction because this is science. This is method of science, right? Let's read more. Let's look at construction. Can you see that? The construction of new city also involved methods specifically different from the ones used today. Now, this is what the Venus Project is proposing. This is what they're doing in Venus, Florida. And this is, again, contribute to humanity. You know, fast and reliable construction techniques takes advantage of prefabricated material, extrusions, and various alloys with memory characteristics. This material, the materials most of these buildings are made of are high in strength, light in weight, and resistance to foreign factors such as weather and insects. Material with memory characteristic, check that out. Material with memory characteristic allow for the design flexibility as well as intelligent resource utilization. Excuse me. Each of these solutions below are only example of what could be done if we use again science and technology with human and environmental concern. You have the automated construction system. A multifunction unit machine is used to lift and later insert prefabricated housing components into support structure. Although these prefabricated units are composed of standard components, They are of a modular design with such a wide and diverse array as to allow maximum individual expression in interior design and decor. Okay. If eventually most of the construction of the industrial and research complex in the circular city are carried out by robotic equipment that receive instruction via satellite. Wow. Automated cranes travel from the building length, installing fall windows, curtain walls, roofing, and other components from the ground up. These devices contain sensors to minimize industrial accidents or collision with other devices and living beings. You have the laser excavators. A laser excavator directly via satellite is capable of fusing the earth beneath it into a molten magma like material. These machines are able to change in shape and to conform to a wide range of contours, such as canals, roads, and waterways. Wow. Look how huge it is. Look at that picture. There's a man standing right next to it. Here goes the man. Look how huge it is. And this is powered and by these satellites in space to build these tunnels and stuff. Man, this is crazy. Sorry, let me get back to here. Mhm. So that's a laser excavator turning, you know, certain stone into magna, so that it can be shaped and formed into building material. Now, you have industrial robots. Multi-axis industrial robots utilize vast information resource, which enables them to receive commands via satellite uplink or on site. They are also designed to take appropriate action in the absence of human derivatives by combining an array of sensors and receivers with sophisticated decision-making ability. You know what I'm saying? Now you say to yourself, "Oh man, but what is going to do with the construction job?" And well, you know, when you deal with construction jobs, you see a lot of harm. Hold on one second. Give me 1 second. So, I'm sorry, got an issue over here, so I'm trying to get done with this. Oh man, life, life. So this is industrial robots. Again, you know what I'm saying? They are capable of handling a wide range of industrial production tasks and are able to upgrade their level of service and replace defective and worn parts. These mega robots communicate with one another to coordinate delivery of the required material for each project. Wow. Then have you also heard of nanotechnology, right? The future of nanotechnology offers enormous potential. Nanotechnology combines optics and laser and will eventually enable us to assemble matter atom by atom into whatever molecule structure is needed. Nanotechnology will lead to a sub microscopic revolution in all fields, including the way in which we conduct human affairs. Nanotechnology, very huge, very huge. Um, mhm. uh, so, let me read you a little bit of the science at NASA, and let me read you the science news. So we looked at science, the Venus Project, and how technology can be used for beneficial to benefit human existence, to lower the amount of harm that's caused to human, at the same time, you know what I'm saying, create a balance between this technology and with the resources of this earth. Resources, you know what I'm saying? Of course, there are, when you do the statistics, of course, like, remember, anything good is going to have a little piece of evil or bad in it. and everything bad is gonna have that piece of it good. It's just again doing the statistic and balancing as being more good or beneficial for humanity than it will harm humanity. And so when we look at these technology, you know what I'm saying, you have to take that into the account. You know what I'm saying? Let me share my screen again because we're gonna do the science. Let me see. Science news. Here we are. Science and NASA. So let's read what's going on in NASA. Let's read more of this here. 3 experiments that just might change your life. There's 3 experiments going on. When Northrop Grumman's 17 commercial resupply mission to the International Space Station launches in February, it will carry 3 investigations of particular interest to NASA Biological and Physical Science Division. It's not often we get the opportunity to launch experiments with such potential to assist future space travel, as well as benefit those of us on Earth. Okay? We're all excited about the possible results. So let me see. As sailors learned century ago, fire, improving, that's it. Okay, here we go. Improving spacecraft at your home and your home safety. As sailors learned century ago, fire is a ship's worst enemy. Sorry. Fire is a ship's worst enemy. But a fire aboard a space vessel will be different, since the flame will be subject to microgravity conditions. And that difference can occur in unexpected ways. Fire. How? That's the purpose of the solid fuel ignition and extension facility. While there are some evidence that fire can be more dangerous in microgravity conditions, much more needs to be studied. Contained in the space station exists combustion integrated rack, software. It will allow researchers to observe the ignition and the flammability of solid spacecraft material. Investigators will use these data to evaluate NASA 1G material flammability selection protocols for materials to be used in spacecraft and planetary habitats. SOFI will also allow investigators to test microgravity flame suppression techniques. So they're doing experiments, investigation about fire in these space stations. That can be beneficial to us here because we're learning a lot about fire. You know what I'm saying? The same data from software experiments can also be applied to advancing fire safety on Earth. For example, to help determine how fire safe of new material might be used in your home, office, or even on a new ship. Another one of the investigations is the winding of microbial battles. Yes, even in space, you find fungus, those tiny replicating cells of mold that can be used, that can form a thin or slimy coating called biofilm on different surfaces. What can be done to prevent this spread inside space habitats? Enter this investigation with the long name, the characterization of biofilm formation, growth, and gene expression on different material and environmental conditions in microgravity. Wow. At its outset, this investigation will characterize the mass, thickness, morphology, and the associated gene expressed in the space biofilm. Next, research will look at the biochemical and the RNA mechanism involved in the biofilm formation in space. Last, they reviewed the role of current material surfaces on biofilm formation, as well as introduce a novel material to test the surface resistance to the sticky substance. So safe biology. But listen, I'm going to have to end this stream. I'm sorry. This is okay. Everything is good. All right. Oh, no, everything is good. I can keep going. So, Bon Appetit, part 2. In 2014, the first plants In 2014, the first plant was introduced to space station via Veggie, a plant-grown chamber that uses LED lights and fans to circulate the station's air. Now, this system is small and uses water and nutrient delivery system. So scaling in a space environment is a challenge due to mass, containment, maintenance, and sanitation issues. Now, a new phase of experimentation is about to take place. The exposed root on orbit test system, the X roots investigation, will use hydroponic and aeroponic techniques to grow plants without soil, integrated with the existing veggie hardware and using video, photographs, and crew observation. The X roots investigation will eliminate nutrients delivery and discovery techniques such as aeroponics from plants germination in its maturity. The system features multiple independent growth chambers to evaluate alternative methods and configurations. And once optimum growth conditions are found, this information will be helpful to earth growers who can enhance the cultivation of plants in settings such as a greenhouse, which in turn may contribute to better food security. Bon appetit, indeed, with a new twist. Again, I'm just reading this. This is Science Tuesday. Some of us would disagree with this, with the method, you know what I'm saying? But this little by little is becoming a reality. You know what I'm saying? With a certain group of people that is doing these scientific experiment and these investigations. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to also find out how we can take this technology, this investigation and the findings and conclusion of this technology and see how can it help us beneficial live a more natural nature life. You know, what can be done to live a natural nature life? Now, about PBS, which is NASA Biological and Physical Science Division, these pioneer scientific discovery and enable exploration of using space environments to conduct investigation not possible on Earth. So they're conducting these experiments on the space station out into space. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this is the beginning of them leaving, you know what I'm saying, of us creating civilization, or maybe there is already civilization on the moon. You know, that's another conversation. I don't want to go into that. I'm dealing with just the science, you know what I'm saying, of these investigations and these experiments that's going on. You know what I'm saying? So studying biological and physical phenomenon under extreme conditions allows research to advance the fundamental scientific knowledge required to go farther and stay longer in space while also benefiting life on Earth. So everything that you read, you know what I'm saying? So that's what's important. If you're going to study and you're going to do investigations and you're going to create circumstances that's not on Earth, on the outer space, how does that benefit what space? Because remember, Earth is in space. You know that. Earth, matter, Earth is in space, occupying space, and is in space. We're very much part of space. You know what I'm saying? So this is another um vine venue, a blessing. All right, my brother, man, what's going on? Well, this is Sign Tuesday, so we're discussing. I'm just sharing some of the stuff that I've been reading about science. You know what I'm saying? Now, I want to bring something up here that you have the World Economic Forum, and remember these studies are being made, and then you have the World Economic Forum, which was formed by 300 billionaires. The World Economic Forum, the 300 Club, billionaires. So we got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? Some of these people might be anti-sociable. One third of those involved in the World Economic Forum are anti-sociable. Like one third of people around you. You know what I'm saying? So we have to also take that into consideration. But there's work that's being done at a United Nation level. You know what I'm saying? So I want to bring this up because it's a Science Tuesday. We're going to look at all these sciences. You know what I'm saying? This is called the strategic intelligence. Now we're going to shift. We went into technology, right? We went into the technology, right? The electronic, the robotic, the AI thing. Now we're going to switch into another science called behavioral science. Now, the behavior science are a powerful tool that can be wielded to engender responsible decision making and improve the quality of life. The sensing of your behavior, of finding out this your ideas and concepts, sensing that and sensing your feelings and your habits, your emotions that create habits that create your paradigm. So whenever by helping people improve their eating habits, whether by helping people improve their eating habits or boost their retirement saving, helping a company engender better team spirit, right? Or helping governments encourage the payment of taxes, the behavior science have a significant role to play in smoothing society path amid the dramatic changes accompanying the fourth industrial revolution. So when we look at the industrial revolution and we look at the AI thing, and when we look to see what NASA's doing, we get to see what the Venus project is doing. We get to see a lot of these projects out there, these high tech. A lot of times, there are in society there's this is dramatic change. Like I tell everybody, prepare yourself because 2030 is going to be a totally different game. Paper money, it's not going to be here. I'm saying all these very scarce paper money, but the cryptocurrencies, the digital things are going to be more powerful because you can see the progression of technology happening right in front of our eyes, right? I was born in the 60s. I grew up in the late 60s and 70s. We had the rabbit ears, turning the TV. It was tubes in back of the TV. It was a totally different, you know what I'm saying? A big tube. We were watching TV was a big tube, and we were watching television like that. And you had to and grab those rabbit ears, the antennas, and in order to get the right reception. And then what happened in the 80s is shift from the analog to digital. A lot of us got to live that. You know what I'm saying? And then you see the cell phone. They got rid of the radio when the last part of the radio frequency went down with the twin towers in New York. Because I remember I had a beeper. Once that tower came down, my beeper was not working. You know what I'm saying? It was not working at all. You know what I'm saying? And that was on radio frequencies. You know what I'm saying? So we seen that shift. And a lot of times, a lot of our elders, when they are bothered by that. You know what I'm saying? And they're not, you know what I'm saying? They see this and it's like, oh, I can't keep up with electronics today. I just can't keep up. I don't like it because yes, we grew up in analog, we grew up more into natural nature and stuff like that. Even though we made mistakes, like I spoke about the tilting of the ground when religion came in, but now we're in a revolution stage, a industrial revolution. And remember, we're revolving back in an industry that we're here thousands of years ago. Some people will argue about that and debate that, and it's pseudo and this and that, but they're not into that. Okay. So you just have to look at it. So these briefing is based on views of a wide range of experts from the World Economic Forum expert network and is curated in partnership with this one with Professor Marie Haneke of the University of Siegen, right? So let me read you this one. So when it comes to behavioral science, I have it here. Let's look at this publication here. How behavioral science boosts sustainability. Let me read it. Are you seeing that? You should be seeing it. Right? Let me make sure you're seeing it. Hmm. I don't think it did it because I think I gotta unshare my screen and pull this one up. Okay, and that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. Give me 1 second, yo. Let me bring this up. Okay, share this. Here we go. How behavior experiments boost sustainable leadership. Now, remember, these are people doing experiment, and a lot of times they're looking at the children's learning in schools. That's why one of my dear elder Abiyaya, Abiyaya used to said that the message said, Panabayanan said that we are on the test tube. There's experimenting going around in us all the time. We're not aware of it, or we're not aware of it. And those of us that are aware of it know it, and they do it by surveys. They're watching our children. They're watching how humans react to certain things. You know what I'm saying? There are people out here that does survey, you know, especially in behavioral science. So behavioral science experiments give leaders tangible action to embed responsible and sustainable behavior within their organization. Through behavioral experimentation, organizations can de-risk change and fully unlock human potential. Leadership experiment with 10 young global leaders show that organizations that embrace iterative change significantly boost their sustainability score. Okay. In our recent published research on shaping the sustainable organization, a center in the World Economic Forum outlined what leaders need to put in place to embed the DNA requirement for sustainable and equitable future. Do an experiment. They're watching the DNA. It's a lot going on here. The next step is to apply this framework to reality using behavioral science to activate and embed the mindset and habits within leaders and their team. See? And these are what you call the steps that they use. One is the stakeholder inclusion, which is trust, accountability, impact. Emotion, intuition, which is instinct, humility, compassion, mission and purpose, integrity, system thinking, sense making, technology and innovation, tech vision, responsible innovation, creativity, intellect and insight, data to knowledge, critical thinking, and continuous learning. We work over 3 months with a select cohort of 10 young global leaders keen on designing behavior experiment to embed responsibility and sustainable leadership practice within their respective organization. Now, these young global leaders programmed is a World Economic Forum accelerator for dynamic community of exceptional people with the vision, courage, and influence to drive positive change in the world. You're being watched. Your children are being watched. Your children are being watched by the World Economic Forum to see if they're able, you know, to make a contribution and be beneficial to society. That's very important what we teach our young children today, you know, so they can become, you know, contributors to humanity and the beneficial and not deem undesirable. You know what I'm saying? The undesirable. There's anti-sociable people that looks at humanity and its section. These are undesirable people, so their life doesn't matter because we put ourselves in those positions. That's why Biso Campos said, "You arm us with the knowledge. You stop our youth, our generation from becoming enslaved, right, and conquered." So it's very important that our children, you know, just like they're being watched and they're being evaluated and investigated and experimented, we need to do that at home. We need to investigate what are their strong points. You know what I'm saying? What are their strong points? You know, what experiments can I do with my children in the household to see if they're being risen in an environment that they're gonna grow and thrive and become these engineers, you know what I'm saying? And whatever they do, they're going to become successful. We're going to take them out of that suppressive environment. That antisociable personality needs to be done with, and raise them in a very, very conduct. Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, these project was part of a responsible leadership program and multi-year collaboration between the Accenture and the forums YGL and the global shaper community. Leaders of responsible impact, introducing the top participant. Now look at these participants. you know, interesting, interesting. I'm not gonna say it, but interesting. What are behavior experiments? Well, behavior experiment is an approach to scale, sustain innovation through low risk, high impact interventions. It allows organizations to transform their culture using experimentation to de-risk change and fully unlock human potential. Our approach is based on a simple yet fundamental truth. Behavior change is driven by beliefs, and beliefs are shaped by experiences. See that? Belief. Now they use a vernacular belief, but remember, you can believe in your car and not know there's a wheel loose. So it's about knowing, but the knowing about your experiences and knowing about your environment. Rather than spending months diagnosing or talking about how to change culture, we equip leaders with practical tools to deliver short, sharp, measurable experiment around new ways of working. You know what I'm saying? By being explicit about the behavior leaders seek to modify, they can create a culture of continuous improvement and creativity. These experiments deliver tangible changes and create an invaluable impact across organization in a matter of months. The responsible leadership behavior change journey, the responsible leadership behavior change journey was a joint endeavor. Alongside our 10 young global leaders, we partnered with 5 behavioral change experts. So they got their experts, Tina Nielsen, Joe Hildenbrand, Lauren Kelly, Abel Durrett, and Simon Abel. Leveraging their thought leadership and methodologies to embed sustainable behavior change. Now, I'm just want to go a little bit into this, and then um, let me just using Accenture's site sustainability organization diagnostic. Each young global leader, YGL, was given a sustainability score, which measured the maturity of the organization responsible infrastructure. The report also identified leadership strength and challenging area forming a foundation of young global leaders' behavior experiment. The design over a series of 2-week sprints, each over a series of 2-week sprints, each young global leader will work with an innovation coach to design bold, quick, measurable experiment to activate the target behavior. Develop after multiple alterations, the young global leaders regrouped to share learnings and take steps to sustain and scale the impact of their behavioral experiment. Now, each young global leader was given a leading for responsible impact toolkit, providing practical steps for continuing the behavior change journey. Behavior experiment require consistency and commitment over a sprint to maximize learning and catalyze change. While access to specific coaching is helpful, once you identify the cultural change you seek, you can create behavior experiment by adapting the diagnosis, design, and develop steps on your own. On your own. 5 things to keep in mind as you design your behavior experiment. I am out of my comfort zone, right? Behavior, is this targeting behavior change? Measurable, can I measure the impact? Quick, can I try this 2 weeks or less? Action oriented, is there all talk or am I doing something? Okay. I don't want to keep going on here, but anyway, 30 to 40 of all behavior experiments don't end up as intended, but 100% end with learning. Okay. One day we're just gonna have to go real deep into that. I want to do a special podcast for the young ones. You know what I'm saying? Where we're gonna actually do these experiments online. You know what I'm saying? So that they can impact themselves and grow and grow and grow and grow. You know what I'm saying? So it's always it doesn't matter. Like I said, the experiment failed or whatever. But you know what? Learning. They're gonna learn something from it. They're gonna learn. They're gonna learn. Wow. Um, Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullah, good brother. Zaid, peace and blessing. Nod, Chris, what's going on? You upside down? Yeah, man. Peace and blessings to everybody. I'm not gonna stay here too long, but I just wanted to do science, Tuesday. And now I also want to look at behavioral science from an aging perspective. Now, I'm gonna bring that up. That's the last thing that I'll bring up now. Because you see, I'm 60 years old, and some of us are getting older, and some of us need to hold on a second. Some of us are going to need to look at our life and understand, of the acceleration and the decline of us, and health wise is the testosterone in men and in women, estrogen, things happen, you know what I'm saying? And in workplace also, it's aging. But I want you to check this out. I read this and I was like, wow, this is really nice. So here we go. And let me get from the beginning. This is from the Harvard Business School. Okay, this is also from the World Economic Forum and Harvard Business Schools. And this is a book out there that is circulating around Harvard University. You know what I'm saying? So I thought maybe to bring it up, you know what I'm saying? When working, harder doesn't work. Time to reinvent your career. See? The second half of your life could be better than the first, yo. Really. And this book, Strength to Strength by Arthur Brooks, shows how letting go of the past glory can open the possibility of life's second curve. And this is for the elders. Okay? Decades ago, a talented young musician pursued his childhood dream by becoming the world's greatest French horn player, right? Studying with great teachers, attending music festivals, and always earning the first chair. I was the first chair in the concert wind ensemble in high school. You know that? I used to play flute and also percussion. And I was the conduct. I made it to conductor. It's the reason why I won the scholarship to go to NYU and study music technology and music performance, and theater in the music industry. At 19, he dropped out of college to tour the world. His goal of joining a top symphony orchestra as a soloist just within reach. But suddenly, his performance started to worsen. No amount of practice or specialized training helped. In fact, the harder he raged against his decline, the faster it inevitably came. He took a job teaching music and to hedge his bets, finishing college through a distant learning program. But this detour didn't derail the career of Arthur Brooks, now a Harvard Business School professor. Speaking about himself, Brooks explored his unlikely shift from budding musician to a hard charging head of a Washington, D.C. think tank and academic in his new book. This is the book, From Strength to Strength, Finding Success, Happening, Deep Purpose in the Second Half of Your Life. The book examined the changes in people's brain as they near middle age. You start turning 50. You start turning into your 60. Well, 60 is the new 40. So that make old ways of doing things, such as constantly working harder, less satisfying and effective, and charts, of course, to finding a second curve that can be more rewarding. The book weaves in the stories of high achieving musicians, philosophers, religious leaders, scientists, and Olympic athletes. Some who gracefully jump to the second curve, and others who stumble and who despair watching their glory days succeed in the rear view mirror offers cautionary tales. Take Charles Darwin, who was disappointed in his twilight years because he had been able to he was disappointed in his twilight year because he has not been able to replicate the success of his earlier work, which is the on the origin of species. Like many strivers, Darwin was hooked on success, and he didn't understand that the smarts that allowed him to innovate quickly in his younger years, called fluid intelligence, naturally declined towards midlife. He told a friend, I have everything to make me happy and contented, but life had become a worrisome to me. Yet people on the back end of life don't necessarily have to wallow in washed up irrelevance. As fluid intelligence winds, crystallized intelligence, a different kind of thinking marked by synthesizing and sharing knowledge. You see, we go from fluid intelligence to a crystallized intelligence, right? Which is marked by synthesizing and sharing knowledge. It grows. Writes Brooks, a professor at management practice at Harvard Business School. He points to Johann Sebastian Bach, a musical star who later eclipsed by his son, but found that his teaching composition in older age brought even a greater renown and satisfaction and ultimately more lasting fame. You know what I'm saying? In business school, they don't tell you about these two curves. They don't. They just say, work your tail off. Be smarter than everybody else, but be ambitious, Brooks says. They don't know that engine, that outboard motor is going to start to splutter. If you don't know the second curve is there and you're afraid to use it, then it's just going to be clear decline. It's gonna decline. Very important. Very important. Shout out to all my content, the people that they're sharing content, those writing books, sharing their experience, and those that aren't on here, if you're not at that age yet, but think about in the future. Thinking about in the future. And also sharing and becoming a mentor to your grandchildren, becoming a mentor to your community is very, very important. It helps that second curve in our lives. It helps. That's the crystallized intelligence. It crystallized. You had the fluid intelligence where you was, oh man, everything was happening. You was youthful. Everything was going good. You was on top of your game. All of a sudden, these things started to decline. Well, now you got to look into the second curve, your crystallized intelligence, right? Professional athlete, now the striver curves. Professional athlete expects that their talent are going to drop off, and many prepare for a second career well in advance. Brooks recalls not knowing exactly when his French horn skills started going downhill. But musicians, similar to athletes, rely on precise fine motor muscles that often deteriorate with age, use, and injury. You see, I'm still a percussionist. But yeah, I know this. But now I can teach percussion. You know what I'm saying? I have a crystallized knowledge of now percussion, conga, bongo. You know what I'm saying? Music, teaching music. Back then, also, when it comes to sacred teachings, I was in a lot of these sacred schools. And every man, it was on. But now, crystallized intelligence to share this, you know, share it. People in knowledge-based profession may think they're different, like lawyers and financial professionals and doctors. These types of workers often expect their ability to remain steady or grow with time. But Brooks points to the data showing that's not the case. In almost every high school professional, he finds, decline sets in between a person's late 30s and early 50s. as the brain prefrontal cortex degrades in effectiveness. Again, you can prolong that by eating right and certain things that you need to do, to prolong that. But still, the second curve should be looked at, right? Innovation from physicists peaks at age 50, writers between 40 and 45, financial professionals between 36 and 40, doctors in their 30s. Startups favor the young, but most founders are between 21 and 34, with only 5% over 60. IQ and professional peaks occur on the average of 20 years into a career. Books call this the fluid intelligence curve. Fluid intelligence curve. An additional rub is that the better people perform, the steeper the decline they're likely to face. That's the balance, man. Remember, more pleasure, more pain. The more you perform, the more the decline is going to be, and the more it's going to impact you. And the more attracted they are to success, the harder its loss hit. You know, grief sets in because you have a profound love for success, right? You got to balance that. That loss, it hits hard. That's what happened to a tremendously wealthy Wall Street financier. Her decision as a manager aren't as crisp as they once were. Her instincts less reliable, Brooks writes. Where once she commanded the room, now she sees that younger colleagues, they doubt her. Her work was everything to her. She lived to work. And now she was terrified that even that was starting to slip. Her relationship was unsatisfactory and she drinks too much. But she can't see another wave. There's another wave, y'all. Maybe I would prefer to be special rather than happy, she explained. Everyone can do the things I take to be happy, go on vacation, spend time with friends and family, but not everyone can accomplish great things. Often when decline kicks in, people like her are too addicted to success to make any change. Any change. You know? So here it is, finding a new calling. I'm sorry, let me look at it. Okay. Finding a new calling. Now, for Brooks, the light bulb went off when his 11-year-old son could see more moves ahead in the game of checkers than he could. Now, Brooks was in his late 40s at the time, and as the head of a prominent think tank, was putting in 80 hours work weeks and basking in the role of the center of policy debates, he thought it would be interesting to write an economic journal article again. The mathematical, analytical kind that a decade earlier as a young professor has been his bread and butter. He wrote a journal, an article, you know, which I'm in the process of writing journals and articles. I'm going to have a blog set up for any of those that want to go on there too and look at the journals, academic journal articles about music and tones and frequencies. You know, it was less fun, it was harder, and the paper was lower quality than what I have done 10 years ago, he recalls. It was a tip off that something has changed in the way he was thinking and in my own personal belief. That's when I started doing research. That's when Brooks started to do research. The research showed that it is not all decline past 40. Certain aptitudes grow during middle age that favor wisdom, teaching, and sharing ideas. See that? Certain aptitudes grow during middle age that favor wisdom. You grow with wisdom, teaching, sharing ideas. You know, language skills and articulation tend to increase also, he says. The professionals that combine and use existing ideas, such as applied mathematics, see much greater longevity. Applied mathematics, we're going to one day talk about that. All right. Teachers often experience long-lasting success, and a Chronicle of Education study says that the oldest college professors tend to have the best teaching evaluation. Jumping on that second crystallized intelligence curve, Brooke, require people to take on teaching or mentoring mindset in whatever field they're in. See, that's how you are going to crystallize your intelligence. The second curve, the second wave, mentoring mindset. Not everybody wants to do that. Many refuse even. But of those who make the jump, the reward is almost enormous. And I testify to that. For Brooks, that leap landed him in Harvard, writing a column for the Atlantic, hosting a podcast, and giving talks. Now let me look at here the roadmap to the second curve. How do you know it's time to look for that second curve? How do you know? Hey, it's time to look into that second curve. How do you know that? One of the big tip-off is that you just don't enjoy your work as much as you did before anymore. Brooks said. People love to do what they're really good at. When you start missing the beat, you start enjoying it less, right? Each person's second curve will look a little different. Changing how one think is critical to seeing and seizing it. You gotta change the way of thinking. Book offers a roadmap with a few suggestions. Now, I'm not gonna propagate this too much, but it's something to look at. There's a practice called death meditation to neutralize fear of decline. It's accepting, see, accepting death to neutralize the fear of decline, right? Things you can say, I feel my competence is declining. You accept that. Those close to me begin to notice that I am not as sharp as I used to be. Man, you're not as sharp as you used to be. You don't even look, wrinkles, something's going on. Other people receive the social and professional attention. Other people receive the social and professional attention that I used to receive. I have to decrease my workload and step back from daily activity I once completed with ease. And accept this. I'm no longer able to work. You gotta accept that. Man, many people I meet do not recognize me or know me for my previous work. Accept that. That's death meditation. I'm still alive, but professionally, I am no one. I lose the ability to communicate my thoughts and ideas to those around me. I'm dead. I am no longer remembered at all for my accomplishments. Now, people are gonna say, well, Dan, this is shadow work. People say, man, that's a little bit pessimistic, right? We're optimistic. It's balancement. It's pure balancement. You know what I'm saying? It's a method of accepting the decline so that you can shift that, again, do the work like an alchemist, shift that into your crystallized intelligence. You know, to take that feeling unsuccessfulness to feeling successful again. So you have to evaluate and improve relationships. Understand the nature of your relationship and judge them fairly. The same way you would if you were assessing a deal. You got to be truthful. You're super good at that. Turn your gift inward. Work. Don't wish. Don't wish. Work. Don't wish for change. Everybody at the Harvard Business School knows that wishing for something better is garbage. They're teachers in Harvard. You're going to wish for something better? That's garbage. You got to work for everything you want. So we all know this. Okay? Let's preach it to you. We all know this. And a piece of advice to, for instance, corporations, and you can even look at corporations as family, the value of hire for wisdom is the C-suite and on board. Companies should evaluate modern elders to the high. They should elevate modern elders to the highest rank of companies. And I say this about families. You need to elevate your elders in our community. We need to elevate our modern elders to the higher ranks. Because that's a lot of wisdom. You know what I'm saying? A lot of wisdom. And that's preparing for the second curve. As for his first passion, the French horn, which taught him so much about the pain of early decline and what comes afterward, Brooks said he has only played it 3 times in the past 25 years and doesn't miss it. Bach said that the aim and the final end of music is the refreshment of the soul and the glorification of God. He didn't say that the aim and the final end of all music is just playing as much music or writing as much music as possible. Books reflects. What that means is that the aim and the final end of our works is to refresh the soul of other people. You can't do that if you are struggling and on the wrong side of the fluid intelligent curve and you're working out of the fear, or you're working out of fear and misery. Can't do that. You're not going to be able to be like Bach. And no, and now I'm a lot more like Bach than when I was a musician. You know what I'm saying? So there's so much more. How long I've been here? Rahubat, Maat, Sasha, Sister Borico. Yes. So we're speaking about that second curve. We're speaking about, the first curve, your fluid intelligence is when everything is flowing. The youth, you're flowing. Now you're entering into what they call the crystallized intelligence. So think about mentoring, think about writing, you know, and these are for those getting to the middle age. Think about it. I got a composition book, start writing. You know what I'm saying? Eventually put out these articles in journal, you know, and study. You could study how to do journalism. You could study how to write papers. That's very important. Research papers and learning how to write blogs and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's something you always got to learn. You remember that's behavioral science. You always should be learning. And at the same time as you learning and you embarking in your crystallized intelligence, again, your youth around you are going to see that, man, if they can learn now and continue learning, I can do the same. I can do the same and learn and learn. And then you become a mentor to them. Mentor your grandchildren. Mentor your children, your mentor, because that's again inhibiting. That's again practicing that crystallized intelligence, and you're now into that phase. You know, and so remember the death meditation and learning how to come out of that, give yourself life, from that. So I just want to read you a little more, and then I'm going to stop. So there you have two intelligence. So 1971, Cantel published a book entitled Abilities, the Structure, Growth, and Action in it. He posted that there are two types of intelligence that people possess, but a great abundance at different points of life. The first is fluid intelligence, with Cantel defined as the ability to reason, think flexibly, and solve novel problems. It is what we commonly think as raw smarts. And the researchers find that it is associated with both reading and mathematical ability. Innovators typically have an abundance of fluid intelligence. Cattell also specialized in intelligence testing. Observe, who's Cattell, I'm sorry, who specialized in intelligence testing, observed that it was highest relatively early in adulthood and diminished rapidly starting in one's 30s and 40s. Based on this finding, Cattell believed younger people are naturally the best innovators in raw new ideas. If we were alive today, if he were alive today, he died in 1998 at a ripe age of 92. He would read what I have written to up to the point and say right away that the professional decline I've been talking about, the initial ability that fade all too early, comes with the fluid intelligence that virtually all hardworking, successful people rely early in their careers. If you have experienced professional success in the early part of your career and your job involved new ideas and solving hard problems, Most people reading this book, I will bet you have fluid intelligence. Plus your hard work, maybe your parents and your good luck to thank for. The young killers is almost every modern industry rely on fluid intelligence. They learn quickly, focus hard on the matters, and devise solutions. Unfortunately, as we have seen in the abundance detail, you generally can't maintain this as you age, which once again might well be why you are reading this book. That's not the end of the story. However, this is where Cantel's work matters. Fluid intelligence isn't the only kind. There's also crystallized intelligence. This is defined as the ability to use a stock of knowledge learned in the past. Okay? The ability to use stock of knowledge learned in the past. Think once again about the metaphor of a vast library. But this time, instead of regretting how slow the librarian is, marvel at the size of the book collection your librarian is wandering around in. And the fact that he knows where to find a book, even if it takes him a while. Crystallized intelligence relying as it does on a stock knowledge, tends to increase with age through one's 40s, 50s, and 60s, and does not diminish until quite late in life, if at all. So Cantor himself described the two intelligence in this way. Fluid intelligence is conceptualized as the decontextualized ability to solve abstract problems, while crystallized intelligence represents a person's knowledge gained during life by a culturation and learning. Translation: when you are young, you have raw smarts. When you are old, you have wisdom. When you are young, you can generate lots of facts. But when you are old, you know what they mean and how to use them. Mm. Let's bring things down a bit. Cantel is telling us that the success curve is, for all intents and purposes, the fluid intelligence curve, which increases in one's mid 30s or so, and then declines on the 40s and 50s. Meanwhile, there's another curve lurking around it, the crystallized intelligence curve, that is increasing through middle and late adulthood. This is a big finding for you and me, huge actually. It says that if your career relies solely on fluid intelligence, it's true that you will peak and decline pretty early. But if your career requires crystallized intelligence, see that? Or if you can repropose your professional life, repurpose, I'm sorry, if you can repurpose your professional life to rely more on crystallized intelligence, your peak will come later, but your decline will happen much, much later. As if you can go from one type to the other, well, then you have cracked code. I just wanted to put that out there. Okay. Peace, me, man. I know Bond Dog. Floyd, what's going on? Yeah, you know. So again, you know what I'm saying? And you know what's important? And that's the reason why we call Pat Abayanon the old man. Because even at his youth, he thought like an old man with all that wisdom. Even as you have a lot of youth out here that think like old men, carry this wisdom. Because that's a crystallized intelligence. You know what I'm saying? They become teachers at an early age. They become mentors. They become, in their professions, this embodiment of wisdom. And it grows more and more and more. That's the second curve. Some people are, and a lot of times what happens because they past life, they lived a life. Well, that's going somewhere else. Some people say pseudo, but the thing is that we have to again look into the second curve. And again, remember the meditation and to think ahead and to say, man, I'm going to be declining. Well, you know what? Since I'm going to be declining, I'm not going to be. Then start thinking about mentorship, mentoring the youth, mentoring the youth in your family and your children. Start this mentoring process. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I was about 30 something, I used to sit my children down and I used to give them classes in the household, read books to them, share some knowledge. Because what happens is you prolong this declination, the decline. You know what I'm saying? And you live you longevity, because you learn now that the fluid life, that's all that stuff. If you get caught up in it, that's gonna decline. You know what I'm saying? And also, well, we're gonna talk about that some other time as far as sexual energy. You know what I'm saying? As far as sex is concerned, and I'll do that another podcast. You know what I'm saying? Private. You know what I'm saying? Of how, when you drop the testosterone and how you no longer have it like you used to have it. So. But there's a way to overcome that. There's a way to overcome it. That's why at an early age it's important. Like they call semen retention, or there's certain practices. I don't even want to go into that now. We'll save that. But yes, this is Science Tuesday, and we looked at to the signs of the Venus Project, right? And that's what's happening in technology. And I like about the Venus Project because it's talking about balancing human existence and balancing nature with this technology. And then when you go into NASA, you see a lot of the investigation stuff they're doing in space as to also look at certain, things here on Earth, make things more beneficial habitat. Again, remember all these, we looked at the World Economic Forum by those 300 billionaires, and we looked at behavior science, and we looked at also behavior science, the youth, what I'm saying? Right, that practice, and we looked at the curve, the behavior science of aging. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So that's important. You know what I'm saying? On science, and that's science, sensing. You know what I'm saying? Learning about the different energy centers, and we're gonna impact that even more. Anyway, I've been here for an hour and a half, man. I appreciate everybody that came on here, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Do my outro again. That is, and I gotta make a habit of doing this every day. So free will offering again. That's my Cash App is there in the bottom, and my PayPal is there. And if you look, I got both of them strolling in the bottom. The Cash App, and also the PayPal. And if you want to, no problem. So anything you can. But the most important thing is that again, I'm benefiting from this because I'm sharing. I mentor certain individuals. I mentor some people, and that's important. Sharing, and that helps me. That helps me. That helps me live my crystallized intelligence. That helps me leave my second curve. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm 60 years old, and that's young. Oh, that's young. That's a new 40. That's young. But again, the decline, and so you have to face that reality. But it doesn't have to be that way. You know what I'm saying? So by accepting it, you can heal it. You can change your mindset, and you can heal it. So for those of you that are in the 30s and 40s, think about that. And even those that are younger, think about your career and look at it and say, man, it's going to come to a time that I'm not going to be that sharp. But stop preparing for it now. Stop preparing for it now. All right? To elong your life. Stop preparing for it now. You're not going to always have that fluid intelligence. It's going to crystallize. You're not always going to be a big Mac. Things happen. So you start preparing for it. You start mentoring whatever field that you find yourself in. You start mentoring, writing papers, doing research, writing papers. There's so many things you can do. It's learning how to deal with that second curve in life. Okay? So I'm going to leave it right there. Outro. And peace. Gabat. 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 To you, peace. Marikatu. Marikatu. Okay? And Gabat. Salam and shalom.